I understand. I get it. It's been a minute. And I've got a lot of excuses. None of them really particularly good, but in the end, I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys an episode that didn't suck that much. So I waited for the right moment. And after spending the morning eating caramelized onions and listening to Love Spirals Downwards, I'm finally in a place where I feel like I can present these books to you. Welcome back to Orthodox Review, the most uneducated educational program here on the internet today. I'm your host, the guy with 1.5 thumbs, Raphael. I am, as always, pleased to be here with you today, and I'm so glad you could join us. Before we get into everything, the usual. I never really say like, share, and subscribe, but I might as well say it now. Thank you so much to the patrons and channel members and donators who keep the wheels spinning around these parts. I am eternally grateful for you, and I do pray for you every chance I get, which is not as much as I'd like, but more often than you'd think. If you would like to support the work we're doing here for as little as $1 buckarino a month, you could support us on Patreon, and occasionally there's like some exclusive and early stuff there and updates, and it's not anything special, but the more we sink into that, the sooner we can just turn the ads off on this train wreck and really start having some fun. Links will be below for the books. Something in my tooth. For the books featured in this episode. 3, 6, 7. 7 books. 7 books. Hey, how about this? Here's a list of 7 books that are prayer books, but they're not like normal prayer books, but they're very useful. Shaking my finger like. Okay, so let's dive right into it. I chose these books out of the myriad that I have around because I think that each one of them is singular in nature. Because, when we think of like, other prayer books, you're thinking of like Book of Akathists, the Manean, with all the canons and stuff in them, things like that. It's like, those are great. Those are all nice and fine. But now finally, in the English Orthodox world, English-speaking Orthodox world, we've got a few more options. Because there are books upon volumes that you'll find in the old country that you just don't see here. And in fact, one of these that we're going to go over, when I did the initial review of it, someone was like, oh yeah, like everyone has one of those over here. And I'm like, really? So, so let's get into it. Now, this one is actually, it's not anything spectacular, but every archdiocese has one that you can buy, except for the Greeks, because they're friggin' weird. The funeral service. And for several reasons. First of all, outside of the Divine Liturgy, the funeral is probably the service that you're most likely to attend outside of like the normal liturgical cycle. And so it always helps to have one of these on hand so you can pray along. But also with the the 8 prayers of, yes, here we are. And I had a bookmark on it the whole time. These are the 8 hymns written by St. John of Damascus. And there's one for each tone, and only a couple pages long. And sure, you could find them online. But these are prayers that I like to read occasionally, maybe not necessarily to pray them, but to contemplate them. Because if anything, reading for our spiritual edification is just as useful as actual prayer. And plus, like, okay, so this is one for the OCA, so like all the music's in there and everything. The one for the Antiochian Archdiocese is a little larger, and it's ring-bound, which is pretty cool. And then the one from the Russian Church, just a tad bit smaller than this, but they all have the same stuff in them, which is great. So I would highly recommend spending a couple bucks, getting yourself the funeral service book, just to have it around and give it a read, because there's some of the most humbling and yet beautiful prayers that we sing in our services. The next is actually two books, which I done did them. I did long ago, 6 years ago. 6 years when the channel first got rolling. And that is Mother of the Light and Light of the World. These come to us from New Rome Press, some of the GOAT in the publishing world. And these are beautiful, beautiful little books because they contain various and sundry prayers, well, to the Mother of God or to our Lord Jesus Christ. And in both cases, you have several canons, maybe an akathist or two. The one to Christ, Light of the World, in particular, has some absolute bangers in it. And in fact, there was a live stream I did a while ago, several years ago, and I was reading one of the prayers out of here. And man, I just started weeping because it was just like so powerful. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find the link for that because I know I did cut it out, so it's just that prayer, and I'll put that in the link below. Plenty by Isaac the Syrian in here, and as we know, Saint Isaac was, guy knew what he was doing. But the Mother of the Light, the first one in that series, kind of a Theotokarion is what they call, because there's several canons in here. These are great for occasional prayer and spiritual edification. We love Mom. We love the Theotokos. We love our Lord. And sometimes, you got to get outside the normal prayer book and into something a little different to, I don't know, spruce it up and express your love and adoration. And what's that word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for, but, just because, penitence. Yeah, just how penitential we are. All right, the next one on our list is one that you may or may not have already and you just don't know it or you're unaware of it. This is Prayers of the Desert. And this is the rule of the 12 Psalms, which most Orthodox psalters you see on the market that have been published in the last few years actually have that in there. It began with the Psalter for Prayer from Jordanville, and then many psalters published thereafter have the rule of the 12 Psalms in them. This particular edition from St. Ignatius Orthodox Press also has a little extra to it. It's not just the 12 Psalms, so especially Evagrius on prayer is very cool. And the rule of St. Pachomius, which is actually the basis for our normal day-to-day prayer rule. But if you're looking to kind of boost your daily prayer rule just a little bit, this is a great supplement to have, and I'm a fan. All right, we are halfway through. That was what, 4 books, so this is book 5. You know it, you love it. I'm gonna harp on it until the cows come home. It's the spiritual Psalter of Saint Ephraim. Yes, I know this is the fancy schmancy version. What I've been doing with this recently, actually, because I don't read a cathesma a day of Psalms, unless it's like a penitential season, just for reasons that don't need to be discussed. But what I do is I read a stasis a day of the Psalms and then a stasis a day of the spiritual Psalter, and I coincide the two. So I do, the same Psalms from each. And I find it's a great way to start the day after prayer, just kind of sitting back and kind of letting that wash over me a little bit. And the hardback is great. The regularly available one is going to have rounded edges and a red cover. Otherwise, it's the exact same thing. And the paperback is the same block text, just paperback. The paperback is like $20, and the hardcover is $45. So there's one out there for everyone. Go get one. Since this has been back in publication, I am just head over heels happy about it. If you go back again to year 1, 6 years ago, when I originally reviewed the Psalter, and I have the original press from St. John of Gronstadt, like it really bummed me out when I found out that they were out of print. So Damascene Press, good on you for bringing it back. This is another book we've done recently within the past 2 years from Zoe Press. This is the Theotokarion of Saint Nicodemus of the Holy Mountain. Now, Saint Nicodemus of the Holy Mountain had a canon to the Theotokos for every day of the year. That's not how many are in here. 12. So there's 12 canons, the final one being the canon of the Akathist. Anyway, it's a beautifully printed book, printed in America. So very well done. As you can see, it's in parallel Greek and English, which is fine, but it is just a wonderfully done translation. And if you're looking for, because we have the usual canon to the Theotokos in our prayer book, but here's a few more. So like you could switch it up. Like, who doesn't like reading it? Canons are so quick and easy to read too. Like, why aren't we doing that more often? So if you're a fan of canons, the way I am, I prefer canons over Akathists. I don't know why. It's just how I am. If you're like me, get yourself this delightful little treasure, and I'm pretty sure Zoe Press has plans on publishing more of these. So, but yeah, this is one of those things that people in the old country, they're like, oh yeah, we got those laying around all over the place. Much like the Psalter of the Mother of God by Dmitri of Rostov, which, that's a mess. Anyway, moving right along. Last but not least, and I'm going to explain this, a Book of Needs. In this case, it's the Parish Book of Needs from Aorist Press, my new friends. Speaking of which, the Psalter is in the mail. So, the Parish Book of Needs, the older version that I had that now belongs to Father David Galloway was just the small Book of Needs put out by St. Tikhon's. That was out of print. They were just dragging their feet, and so Sergey and Daria put this together beautifully. And you're probably asking yourself, oh, here's a litany for the departed right there. It's like, why, Raphael, you might ask, why, Raphael, would I go out and buy this book? It's not cheap, and it's full of, isn't that just for priests and deacons? No, it's not. In addition to having the parts in there for you, the faithful, let's say you're helping out with a house blessing or whatever, it's going to be in here. But not only that, as I said before with the Panakita book, with the funeral service, sometimes it's worth it to just read through the prayers for your spiritual edification. And not only that, you never know when you're going to need one of these. It's one of those, like, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it sort of things. Let's say your priest needs to do a blessing or whatever, you're out and about. It's like, you've got a copy because maybe he doesn't bring his with him. Or they're scrambling at the church to bless something. I can't find my Book of Needs. Hey, Father, I got mine. Okay, maybe I'm the only person that does that sort of thing. But there are some fantastic services in here that I believe are just, in general, worthy of reading through. You have all the prayers for women and infants, coming through the pregnancy, if there's difficulties, anything like that. Hey, are you a mom? Are you going to be a mom? Do you want some extra prayers? They're in here. Entry into the church, prayers for the dying, which I find very useful, as no matter what we do, people keep dying. Prayers for the dead, for the healing of soul. You get everything you need for confession, prayers before and after confession, which I don't think, at least in the USCA, really gets pushed enough. But that's just my personal opinion. Ecclesiastical blessings throughout the church year, and blessings. Like, okay, you're not a priest. That's fine. But, like, you can pray over your stuff. Like, that's what we do as Orthodox Christians. You throw a little holy water at it, you say some prayers. It's always great when you have a priest come by and bless things. It's fantastic. But, sometimes you buy a new, I don't know, pot or something. You throw a blessing on it. So, more useful than you'd think. So there it is. What did I say? Seven books. 7 other prayer books that I personally find useful, and maybe you'll find useful too. And, a lot of people in the Discord are like, I want to get this prayer book, I want to get that prayer book. And it's just like, all right, well, there's other prayer books, and here are some of them. So I hope some of that was at least good food for thought, so you can go do the Google or talk to ChatGPT or whatever it is you kids do these days, and look into these things, maybe pick up a book or two and put them to good use. As always, the coziest Discord in known existence is the Orthodox Review Discord, and you're more than welcome to join us down there and talk about this stuff further, because we do have lively discussions in there. Let's see, outside of that, psalters are on their way. I should have them probably by Wednesday. It is Monday afternoon right now. So be looking forward to that. Dario Cortez and I have been messaging back and forth, and she sent me some pictures, and I posted the pictures in the in the Discord. So there's really finally the seasons are aligning. At any rate, thank you so much for keeping your patience with me and just being you. I love you. I love you to bits and pieces. And continue to pray for me, please, as my mental health is all over the place, but God threw me a bone today, and I'm grateful for that. And with that being said, let's slick back our bald spot, reduce the glare, and on behalf of Patches the murder cat, Patches the one-eyed murder cat, that little vicious, oh, she's over there, vicious little creature, and myself, thank you again for tuning in and sticking around. And don't forget to go to church, say your prayers, and remember God. God bless you all.